All commerce, whether with society in general or business to business, is done with people. It is people that build and create. It is people that interact. It is people that make decisions. And all people operate according to psychological principles. For this video, I want to highlight just a few psychology constructs that will help you with sales, particularly as it relates to high-priced offers. The first psychological principle is identity. This is true especially as it relates to confidence, because confidence is one of the things that flows out of identity. Confidence is a feeling of self-assurance, a belief in one's abilities, one's capabilities, one's qualities. Now, the first thing you have to do when it comes to sales is to remember that if you're offering something of great value, whether that is a unique service or a rare product, the ability to meet a very specific need, then you have the power, not the buyer. I'm going to say that again. You need to remember that you have the power and not the buyer. Yes, they have the money, but so do a lot of other people. What you have is the unique solution to their needs, and finding that is a lot harder than you finding another customer. So it's important to remember your identity, and from that, let flow your confidence. The second psychological principle is growth and development. Now, this is true particularly as it relates to helping the client grow and recognize their own needs. Because if they're not able to identify their needs, what they actually, sometimes when a client comes to you with a particular issue, they don't know exactly what the source of the problem is, so they're not fully able to identify what their need is. Now, this is particularly relevant when it comes to pricing. Right? So when you want to share the price of your services, particularly if it's a high price service that you're offering, the first thing is if the client asks early, so be aware of timing. If they ask for the price early, chances are they're wanting to disqualify you. How much does this cost? They want to see if it fits their budget, and if it doesn't, they're ready to move on. So I would avoid talking about price early in the sales conversation. Instead, you want to, again, focus on growth, focus on their needs. If they ask you in the middle, the best thing you can do in this case is to offer a range of prices or purchase options. You can say that depends. It depends on what you need. And that's very true, because what service you're going to give, what particular need you're going to meet, might vary wildly in terms of the amount of time that you spend with the client, or the amount of resources you have to garner to meet that need. Now, when you answer, if you answer early, or if you answer even too early in the middle, then you have to justify. You're, okay, well, here's why I'm giving you this big price. It puts you on the defensive, and you never want to be in that position. So focus on needs. Let the client talk about what they need, help them explore what they need. So then, near the end, that's ideal. They're fully qualified. You know it's a client that you can help. The client is aware of exactly what they need. They know what you can provide and that you can meet that need. And now you're ready to talk about price, which is a growth period. You have to get them ready to recognize, this is where I'm at, this is where I'm going. Now let's talk about how much that's going to cost. The third psychological principle is stimulation, which is a state of arousal or excitement. Now, there's lots of different kinds of stimulation. You can be stimulated because I'm excited tomorrow's Christmas, or you can be stimulated sexually, or you can be stimulated, aroused in a sense of I'm afraid something bad's going to happen. But what you want to do with your client is to focus on this stimulation in terms of getting them excited about what's to come, excited about meeting their need, excited about getting the product that they desire. And you always, to do this, you always focus on selling an outcome, right? Not what you do, like the specific thing that here's what I do. I provide tax accounting services, or I provide consulting for, blah, blah, blah. No, you're selling an outcome. They don't care what you do. What they care about is meeting the needs that they have and making sure that they're able to overcome an obstacle or to grow or whatever it is that's facing them. So you want to sell that. Focus on the outcome. That will differentiate you from the competition, right? Because the competition, if you say, well, I do A, B, and C, well, now they can compare you to a dozen other people, and you're locked into those other people's pricing. If you talk about the outcome, meeting a need that only you can meet, well, now you can price irrespective of what the competition is pricing, because you have a unique thing that you're offering that is only available from you. And that comes from a deep understanding of knowing your client's need and having the skill set and the abilities. This won't work if you're not actually able to meet that need. But if you are, you can position yourself to provide precision results. And then you get paid based on what you deliver rather than, a generic skill set. The fourth psychological principle is perception. Now, where this is important as it concerns a sales conversation is drawing attention to different aspects of the client's situation, reframing and redirecting them to understand the dynamics of what it is that they're going through and what it is that they actually need to achieve. Now, again, during this process, you want to be able to redirect them back to the pain points, the issues that are a problem for them, and to help them unpack that and understand, well, here's where I'm stuck, and here's how I need to get unstuck, and here's why I can't get unstuck, and here's, again, where you come in, how I can help you to do that. Stay on focus, stay on track, stay focused, and that focus needs to be laser precision on your prospects' wants and on their needs. The fourth psychological principle is fear. In particular, what you might call FOMO, or fear of missing out. Now, one of the important aspects of this is helping your prospects to understand the costs that they're going to pay, particularly if you've delivered a price and they're like, well, I don't know about that. Helping them understand the costs that they're paying by allowing this problem to continue. Many times, what you're able to provide to them is a fraction of the cost of what they've been paying in wasted resources, wasted time, missed opportunities, lost clients, all those things. So by helping the prospects to recognize that you could miss out on this and you could end up remaining with the same situation, how much is that going to cost you? How much expensive would it be for you to leave this need unmet and to continue dealing with this problem? The pain of that, the frustration, even emotionally, the toll that would take. Not to mention financially and staffing and all the other things that come with the business relationship and issues within the corporate world. Now, doing this again will help you to differentiate yourself from the marketplace. You want to set yourself apart and instead associate you and what it is that you are providing with the applicable real life value that you are able to deliver. That's what you want to keep the focus on. So again, just because someone has a copywriter doesn't mean that they're going to sell something. Just because someone has a consultant or they can hire a consultant doesn't mean that their treatment program is going to be successful. What you're offering is the ability for them to have that. And that's what you want to focus on. And so really, again, you have the power. And fear is a way to underscore the fact that if they don't move forward, nothing changes. The sixth psychological construct is called chaining. And a lot of people understand this in terms of, maybe you've heard of Pavlov's dog. In the case of Pavlov, he conditioned his dog. He would ring a bell and then he would feed his dog, and he would ring a bell and feed a dog. And after a while, those two things became associated. The dog heard the bell and then it said, okay, well, it's time to eat. And after a while, when Pavlov would ring the bell, the dog would start salivating in anticipation, even when there was no food present, because those two things had been linked in its mind. So particularly as you are talking about price, follow that up with questions to keep the conversation going, such as, is this within your budget? So now you're exploring a different area. It's not focused on specifically how much am I going to pay today. What's your budget? How much is the issue costing you? How much are you willing to devote to solve this problem? How much is this going to save you in the long run? Questions like, are you comfortable spending that amount of money if it solves your problem? You're chaining the price with the solution, and that's going to, in the client's mind, help them understand that this is how I'm going to move forward and get past what I need to do, which is going to put you in a position to secure their business. The seventh psychological principle is what's called cognitive restructuring. And the way cognitive restructuring works is it is altering or adjusting a faulty thought or a faulty belief by disputing errors in thinking. Now, how does this relate to business? I mean, we can think of mental health applications for this, and obviously that's one of the things it's designed for. But it applies in business because people often have distortions in thinking about their problem, about their business, about the services that you provide. So with those distortions in thinking, it's going to generate objections to moving forward, objections to deciding to close this deal and us work together. So part of cognitive restructuring is identifying the faulty thoughts and correcting those, helping the client to see clearly, this is actually what you're dealing with, this is actually what I provide, this is actually how we can move forward together. That's going to, and another thing I want to say about this, when you are overcoming a client's objections, it is never about winning an argument. And that's true in counseling if you're working with a client that has errors in thinking that's affecting their health. But it's true in business as well. You're not trying to win an argument. You're trying to understand the problem, help the client understand the problem, and meet their needs, right? So keep it focused on that, and then demonstrating your value. Making sure that your value is known and understood by the client, that there's no distortions in that, is the key to persuasion and the key to closing the sale. Lastly, the 8th psychological principle is control. Now, while it can be argued that control is only an illusion, humans crave a sense of predictability in life. That helps to reduce anxiety and to bring about a sense of confidence and a sense of being able to move forward in one's environment without fear and unnecessary risk. So control is important. Now, when it comes to business, you must maintain control of who you work with. What I mean by that is if you are able to effectively demonstrate to your prospect the value that you bring to the table, the service that you have, and they are not willing to properly compensate you for that, if they're not willing to even do the things that they need to do on their end to make this happen, then you're probably better off moving forward. You don't need to close every sale. In fact, you need to say no sometimes. You need to control which clients you work with and which ones you don't. For example, if you can make a client $1 million and they're unwilling to pay you $100,000, just a fraction of that, or if you can make a client $100,000 and they're unwilling to pay you $10,000, then I mean that's a heck of a return on investment. Then you probably should be glad that you're done with them. If they're not appreciating what you're bringing to the table, chances are you're going to have a rocky and unpleasant business relationship with them for the entire duration. So for many reasons, you don't need that kind of client anyways. Stick with the winners, deliver on your promises, and everyone wins. Until next time, don't just be transformed, be kinged.